Have you ever asked yourself questions like, what's the difference between spirituality and religion? Can someone be spiritual without being religious? What exactly is a witch, a priestess, a mystic, and where do I fit into all of this? Well, my name is Bertina, and I am the host for the Spiritual Sanctuary Wisdom for the Divine Feminine. And today we are going to talk about these important questions because we're living during a time where many people are awakening spiritually, but they don't have the language for what they're experiencing. So let's take a deep breath. Let's begin diving into a topic that I believe many people are quietly wrestling with internally. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Bertina, and this is the Spiritual Sanctuary Wisdom for the Divine Feminine. Today, as I said, we're going to discuss topics, questions that I feel like people are quietly asking all the time. As many of you all know, I've taught religion and sociology at the university level, and I get this question a lot from my students from a standpoint of religion. And this past weekend, I got the question from my students in the metaphysical world from a spiritual standpoint. And I noticed that there were some similarities. There were some ideas that it seems like society has put onto different labels, but there were also some different questions that I felt like would be a wonderful topic for today. So just remember that we're going to explore all of these paths without judgment, fear, or shame. This is my research as a professor, as well as my experience as practicing many different religions and just having exposure to different people. So let's look at some of these questions again. What's the difference between spirituality and religion? Can someone be spiritual without being religious? What is a witch? Is witchcraft and Wiccan the same? What's the difference between all the labels that we have, and then where do you fit in? The fact is that we don't have language for a lot of what we're experiencing. We're raised deeply religious and now feel disconnected from those systems, and then we don't know what to do. We may still love aspects of religion, but maybe craving more personal spiritual experiences. Some of us are exploring tarot cards, meditation, yoga, moon rituals, energy healing, or goddess spirituality, and wondering if that makes us a witch. Others feel called into sacred leadership and healing, doing ceremonies, women's circles, and wonder if they're walking a priestess path. So today we are going to explore all of these paths. We're going to do it without judgment or fear. And this isn't saying that one path is better than another. This is just about understanding, because when we understand something, we can release fear around it. And fear has always surrounded spirituality, witchcraft, feminine wisdom, and sacred practices for centuries. So let us begin. So let's first talk about spirituality and religion, because many people use these words interchangeably, but they're actually not the same thing. Religion is generally an organized system or beliefs, or as many people want to say, a dogma or dogmatic beliefs. And this includes sacred texts, there's rules or commandments, there's specific doctrines and rituals, there's moral structures, leadership hierarchies, community worship, and then sacred theology or study. Religion often answers questions such as who is God, what happens after death, how should humans behave, and what is considered sacred or sinful. In sociology, we say that religion is a man-made concept that helps us answer the question of where do we come from, why are we here, and where are we going? And for many people, religion offers structure and community and guidance and stability and tradition and identity here on this earth. And religion can be beautiful. It's inspired incredible art, compassion, service, prayer. The architecture of the churches are beautiful. The music is wonderful. And in many religions, there's community care throughout human history. But religion can also become rigid. Sometimes people feel disconnected when spiritual experiences become replaced with rules, fear, shame, or control. This is often where spirituality begins emerging more strongly for people. Spirituality is more personal. It's often about direct connection. Instead of what does intuition say, spiritualists ask, what is my soul experiencing? Spirituality often involves intuition and meditation, energy awareness, personal growth, a sacred connection, working with nature, mysticism, studying ancient ideas, inner healing, consciousness, and a divine connection. Spirituality also tends to focus more on experience than the doctrine or the rules. A spiritual person may believe that the divine exists in all things, that energy connects everything, the soul continues after death, intuition is sacred, nature is holy, the body is sacred, and personal awakening matters. Some spiritual people belong to religions, others do not. Some combine multiple traditions. Some create personal practices, and honestly, many people today are somewhere in the middle. They may still love prayer, but they also meditate. And to me, prayer is praying to your soul, God, whoever, and then meditating is listening for that answer. Many people still believe in God, but they work with crystals because they have the belief that God placed the crystals here for us to heal, just as well as God placed the knowledge in our mind for the doctors to help heal us. They may attend church, while they may also practice yoga or tarot. And yoga has always been a spiritual practice in Hinduism, Buddhism, and others, and it does have a connection to their deities. It's just the Western world has taken a lot of that spirituality and a lot of that religion out of it and turned it into a workout where true yoga is a spiritual practice. And this is something important to understand. Human spirituality has never been as separate as people think. Throughout history, cultures always blended mysticism, healing, ritual, prayer, ancestral connections, herbalism, movement, dancing, divine devotion together. The separation often came later through systems of control and institutionalization. That means that when it became business, when it became um, a way of controlling society. But let's think about why so many people are spiritually awakening. One reason is become because people are craving direct experience again. They want authenticity. They want to be healed. They want real connection, real meaning. They want sacredness, something that is special to them, their community, and they want emotional truth. They want to be able to feel what it is that they are seeking. Many people are exhausted by constant productivity culture. They feel spiritually empty, disconnected from nature, disconnected from themselves, from rituals. There's just so much noise, there's no silence, and there's no mystery. Modern spirituality often becomes a way of returning to the sacred. We begin exploring meditation and breathwork more, tarot, oracle cards, other divination, not so much as to tell the future, but to help us connect with our soul, our deities, or even a way for people to connect to their God, however they want to define it. We've connected with Reiki and energy healing because Western medicine has failed us in many ways. And we can find a way of taking what is good in Western medicine and connect it with the energy healing without dismissing science. We've come back to somatic healing and dancing, moon rituals, and goddess studies. We come back because we're searching. We're searching for meaning and healing and embrace. Now, many people want to know the definition of witchcraft and are you a witch? You'll get a lot of questions about that a lot. But first, before we answer that question, I have to explain a little bit more about religion and spirituality and then Wicca and witchcraft, because this is where the confusion begins. Wicca is a modern pagan religion. Now, let me give you a list of religions just off the top of my head. Of course, the Abrahamic religions, Christianity, Judaism, Islam. You've got voodoo. Hoodoo is more of a spiritual practice, but you can, depending upon where you are, there's different interpretations of that. There's Hinduism, Jainism. Some people believe Buddhism is religion. Some people believe it's a lifestyle. Buddhism seems to be more of a spiritual practice because Buddha is not the God. Buddha is a teacher. And many people find that they can take the teachings of Buddha and connect it with Christianity or Judaism and be a Christian Buddha. Wicca is the one that confuses a lot of people. Now, I'm not by no means an expert. I am coming from a place of academic study and personal experiences with friends of mine. But historically, Wicca is a modern pagan religion. It was popularized in the mid 1900s through figures like Gerald Gardner. And they generally focus on nature spirituality, see, seasonal celebrations, the divine feminine and the divine masculine, ritual practice, magic, energy, the cycles of the earth, and the will of the year. And that sounds a lot like spirituality. They also celebrate full moons, new moons, and sabbats. They honor a god, a goddess, nature spirits, and some honor the threefold law, and some do not. The belief that energy returns amplified. But here's what is important. Wiccan is a religion. Witchcraft is a practice. Not all witches are Wiccan, and not all Wiccans identify as witches. They're not automatically the same thing. Okay? So, Wicca is a religion. It is recognized by the federal government as a religion. So what is a witch? The word witch carries like, oh gosh, a lot of historical weight because for centuries witches were feared, persecuted, demonized, misunderstood. We were symbols of fear because they represented power outside traditional authority. But remember, they always made witches look scary. But in reality, most accused witches were healers, midwives, herbalists, mystics, teachers, outsiders, independent women, and spiritual practitioners. Modern witchcraft is incredibly diverse. And this isn't even scraping close to what we can label ourselves as a witch. A witch today may practice herbal magic or just light a candle, birthday candles, candle rituals. They may do divination such as tarot and astrology. They may do energy work, ancestral work. They also do moon rituals and folk traditions, protection practices, manifesting. There are kitchen and green witches, which me and a friend of mine have realized that we are not one after after a workshop that we went to. It's kind of funny. Some witches are deeply spiritual. Some are secular. Some are religious. Some are atheist. Some are Wiccan. There are Christian witches. There are some that's eclectic. There's some that focus entirely on nature. Witchcraft itself is just about intentional energy and practice. One just simply asks, how do I work with energy and nature? How do I work with my intuition? Are there rituals and intention to create change? At its core, modern witchcraft is often about personal empowerment, trusting your intuition, healing yourself, doing rituals, finding a sacred connection and transformation. Now, I've been to several priestess activities and witch celebrations. That's probably not the right word. Witch circles, women's circles, and people are like, "Well, are you a witch or are you a priestess?" And we can be both. There are differences in focus and energy. The witch can be associated with magic and transformation and spell work and energy manipulation and folk wisdom, mysticism. And the priestess, we're kind of associated more with sacred devotion and the actual spiritual leadership and ceremony. We do a lot of service, a lot of temple work. We embody the divine, we hold sacred space for others, and we guide each other spiritually. The priestess path is less about controlling energy and more about channeling sacred presence. We lead circles and hold rituals and guide ceremonies and teach spiritual wisdom. We work devotionally with goddesses. We serve community. We create sacred containers for people to come and feel safe, and we initiate transformation in others. Historically, priestesses existed in many cultures. They served temples. They were oracles, like the Oracle of Delphi. They held healing sanctuaries and taught in mystery schools. They held sacred rites and women initiations. We held those spaces. They were, and we are, often spiritual leaders and healers and mediums and sacred wisdom. But a witch may ask, how do I create transformation or change? And a priestess may ask, how do I serve the sacred? Again, neither's better. They're just different archetypal energies. And sometimes many people embody both. Sometimes we practice tarot and moon rituals and herbals work and spell work while also leading ceremonies and mentoring women and teaching sacred wisdom and holding sacred spaces and doing all the things. That blending is becoming very common in modern spirituality. One reason that the priestess archetype is returning so strongly right now is because many women are reclaiming spiritual authority. For centuries, women's spiritual leadership was often suppressed. We were told that our intuition was dangerous, our bodies were sinful, our emotions were weak, and our spiritual gifts were suspicious. But now women are remembering their intuition and our sacred voice and our connection to nature and our cyclic wisdom, our healing gifts, and our spiritual leadership. And the modern priestess is not about superiority. It's not about ego, and it's not about pretending to be perfect. It's about devotion. It's about embodying and living this every day. It's about integrity and compassion and service and sacred responsibility. Now, can you be spiritual without all these labels? Absolutely. You do not have to have a label. You don't have to label yourself at all. You don't need permission to meditate. You don't need permission to pray. You don't need permission to honor nature. You don't need to permission to explore different spiritual paths. You may resonate with the word mystic or teacher or witch or priestess or pagan or spiritual seeker, healer, energy worker. Some people resonate with none of these, and that is okay. Your spiritual path is deeply personal. The important thing is discernment, integrity, compassion, and remaining connected to your own inner truth. So I want to leave you with a few questions to journal about after this episode. So get out a pen and paper. Write down the question, what spiritual beliefs genuinely resonate with your soul? And think on this for a little bit. You don't have to put the spiritual beliefs in a box. Just what beliefs? And don't justify, don't excuse, don't apologize. Just own them. Think about what beliefs are inherited through fear. Maybe write about where do you feel spiritually alive? What sacred practices bring you peace? And this is really important to kind of help you find if it's religion, spirituality, priestess, witchcraft is, do you crave structure or do you like freedom? Do you like devotion or do you like experience? And then ask what archetype calls you most strongly right now? Is it a mystic, a witch, healer, priestess, seeker, oracle, teacher? And most importantly, what does the sacred mean to you personally? And I want you to think about these. Now, I have a website, bertena.org, Bertena.org. And if you go to the first page and you scroll all the way down to the bottom, there is a section that says communities. And one of them is the Sacred Sanctuary. This is a place where you can post and share information. You just have to set up an account. It is free. Join it and share this information with others. I'm trying to build both an online and an in-person sanctuary. The in-person sanctuary is at Cosmic on the fourth Sundays of the month, and the virtual one is usually the fourth Thursday on Zoom at 7 o'clock. If you go back to my website at bertena.org and you click on the classes and events and you go over to classes and events, once you get there, there's a whole list of online and in-person classes. Some are free, some are $25, some are courses that are certification courses that are a little bit more. But I want you to join me there. I would love to see your information that you found today. I also offer in-person and online tarot and oracle readings, healing sessions, spiritual coaching, and private classes. You can go through our sponsor at Cosmic Connections. Their website is yourcosmicconnections.com. YOUR cosmicconnections.com. The link is in the show notes. And you can also go through my priestess path. If you sign up for an account, you get the first level for free, and it just kind of explains what a priestess is. Then there's level 2 through 6, and these are being built every day. But what I do want you to do is if this episode resonated with you at all, please share it with someone exploring their spiritual path. And if you do that, use the code Bertena, Bertena podcast, PODCAST, number 10 at our sponsor's website, yourcosmicconnections.com, and you'll get 10% off your online order for the store. There's lots of ways to connect. And I know we are out in this world where it feels like we're all alone. But I promise you, if you like connection with each other and you live in the Nashville area, we get together in person so many times. If you like Zoom, I do Zoom classes every Thursday evening, book clubs and all. So you're not alone. You just got to reach out to me. You can email me, connect with me at my website, bertena.org, Bertena. And I know I keep spelling my name, but it's because my name is so unusual and people want to put an I in it, and there's no I. So Bertena at Bertena.org. So until next time, may you walk your path with wisdom, with discernment, healing, and a sacred remembrance. And I love each of you. Good night.